but most recruiters, including myself, 100% commission. And so we've got metrics that we're tracking on all of these requirements, right? So if I want to make 5 placements over the course of a month, I need to set up at least 15 sendouts. Now, that's because for me, my interview to hire ratio is 3-to-1. Now, the industry average is 7-to-1. For the average recruiter, they have to set up 7 interviews before they make 1 placement. For mine, I'm a little bit more seasoned in my career. I've been doing this for a long time, 20 some years. Mine is 3-to-1. But to get 15 sendouts, I've got to have at least 45 phone interviews or video interviews over the course of a month. To get 45 phone interviews, I need to make somewhere between 1,400 and 1,600 outbound calls that month. All right. Have you ever tried to plan 1,600 phone calls before, and how much time you could imagine it takes to research all those calls and then put them onto a planner and then make those calls? So when you call us and say, hey, let's get together for a quick cup of coffee so I can tell you all about myself, I would love to, and sincerely, I would love to have a lot of those calls. We just can't, just because we've only got so much time in a day. And I've tried to explain this a lot of different ways, and it never comes across nicely. So I'm going to try a different way, a more visual way here. Here's 4 different buckets of where I could spend my time today. The first bucket here is finding jobs that I can fill, right? If I can find some positions that I can then present to candidates, that's like money in the bank. All right. So I'm going to drop, at least 1/3 of my day, 1/4 of my day into that first bucket. The second bucket here is I need to then find people to fill those jobs, which is going to take me longer to find a good person that's qualified to send over to that client. So I need to put even more time into that second bucket. And then I got to do all the research to find which companies to call, to find which companies I need to be reaching out to. I got to put a couple hours to that. And for me personally, I do a lot of executive coaching, job search advisement for senior executives who are in transition. So I'm taking time on the phone with them. I write executive IT resumes for senior IT executives. That takes time. I got to put it there. And I do want to have some of those coffee meetings whenever I can. So I got to put at least some time toward that. All right. But if everyone who reached out and said, hey, can I just take 15 minutes of your time, 10 minutes of your time today to introduce myself, tell you about my background? Yes, I can do that. But in order to do that, I've got to take money out of one of these other buckets and put it in the coffee bucket. And if you're another person and another person and another person throughout the day, if I wanted to, I get enough requests per day that I could take every one of those little stopwatches and pile it into that other bucket. And not to say that's not valuable, but those other buckets for sure are going to lead to income for a commission-based person, right? So in the recruiter's eyes, I'm watching all my time turn into little drops falling out of the bottom of that bucket. And this is how my buckets end up looking at the end of the day. Of my bucket for really good jobs that I have that I can present to job seekers, that bucket's empty. The qualified people that I've recruited to present on those jobs, that bucket's empty. The time that I have available for coaching, so people to hire me for coaching, that bucket is empty. And writing resumes, that bucket's empty. But I got a bucket full of people who are really talented who don't fit any of my jobs. All right, does that make sense? So if you ask a recruiter for coffee and they don't respond at all, or if you don't fit their job, they don't have any openings at that particular moment, if they don't call you back, this is why. They could pick up the phone and call 150 people today to tell them they don't fit the job. Should they do that? Or should they go find a job that they can call you and tell you about? Right? It's going to be more valuable for you if they don't call you back. So for me, I created a clone for anybody in IT. If you talk to Polychronic, I can make more calls to more employers and have more jobs to present to you.